you, Mr. President. I was very reluctant to get up today. I certainly can't articulate the medical science of masks, and I never would be able to articulate the constitutional lesson that we just received from our friend from Wood. But I do believe that the masks are working. I do believe that they're working particularly in our chamber. Mr. President, I remember when we talked and we wanted you to do a rule. And you asked us to give you a chance to put safety precautions in place. And you said, if it didn't work, you would implement the rule. And we gave you that chance. And, Mr. President, I want to tell you, I think you've done a tremendous job. Most people are in total compliance. We haven't had an outbreak in our chamber because people here are using good common sense. And, Mr. President, when you came up and sat beside me for the photo, you looked over and you said, if you want me to put my mask on, I absolutely respect your space, and I will do that. And that meant a lot to me. That meant a lot to me, and it meant that you showed true leadership, and you meant what you said to us that day on the Democrat caucus call. And I think that you deserve kudos for that. I don't think we should back up now. We're about, 20-some days into this session. Things are going well. Hopefully, no one's going to contract this horrible disease because, Mr. President, I lost a dear friend to COVID. Someone I worked with for over 20 years. Worked with very closely. He was a dear friend and a dear fighter for the labor movement. And we spent 20 years working together, side by side, for the United Mile Workers. His wife's a registered nurse. They tried to do all the right things. Rick contracted COVID. Went to CAMC. Was put on a ventilator. We thought that he was moving in the right direction. They took him off the ventilator and had to put him right back on. And it wasn't much long after that they called the family in. I lost a dear friend. Some kids lost their dad. Karen lost a husband. We can't argue that these masks don't work. We got to accept the fact that they help. We got to accept the fact that we're doing everything we can to stamp out this pandemic. I don't want to hear anything about freedom. What about my freedom? What about when you're breathing in a committee room in my airspace? What about my freedom? What about my new grandbaby's freedom? 3 months old this week that I want to go home and hug and kiss and be with. What about my freedom? Mr. President, thank you. Thank you for looking out for this chamber. Thank you for doing the right thing. And let's just continue to do that. Thank you, sir.